Sorry. I hit the button.
Oh, okay. All right. Howdy there, folks. We're going to talk today a little bit about managing club business. Now, that this is going to be a lot of information, so we're going to walk through it briskly, and then, hopefully, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat or ask them afterwards. So, okay, managing club business, club meetings, financial statements, budgeting, and communication. All right, so Rotary International requires clubs to meet at least twice monthly. All right, I think we know that. And be sure to update your club's website with changes to your meeting schedule, and then consider changing your meeting format or frequency, or relaxing attendance requirements. Document any change in meeting formats, frequency, or attendance in your club's bylaws. So club meeting formats. So you can change your meeting format and engage your members in fun, productive ways. Obviously, there's in person, there's online, or a combination of hybrid. There's service projects, there's leadership development, committee planning or reporting, social gatherings, member professional talks, education talks on topics your club determines, whatever they want. Okay. So meeting locations rotate where you meet. Some clubs meet at different places. Some clubs typically have the same place. So whole gatherings in a member's home or a local restaurant or other offsite locations, such as a local business. There's community centers, churches, lots of places where people can meet. Now, lots of Rotary clubs are meeting in parks and easy to get to locations other than a hotel or restaurant. Okay, so club meeting agendas, there's no really set requirement, but typically you want to start and end on the meeting on time. We ring the bell at whatever time you start. Typically, you then welcome Rotarians and guests, do the Pledge of Allegiance, recite the four-way test together. Some people do it in the beginning of the meeting, like our club does it at the end. If you're a club that sings, you could do a song for the day, thought for the day, foundation minute. A lot of clubs do Rotary minute. Some clubs even do invocations. Happy dollars is usually something most clubs do, where members can give dollars and talk about why they're happy. There's business announcements, and then there's a program, typically a speaker. And like we said here, you always want to have a plan B in case something happens to the speaker and they don't show up. Then you know that you can shift or adapt into something else. And of course, at the end, you want to have thank yous to everybody.
So, Benson, people can change up the format and do things a different way. Like if they don't want to do the Pledge of Allegiance, they don't need to. They don't want to
Yep,
sing, they don't need to, right? So,
yep,
it's good to change up things, be engaging, and be organized. But the thing to keep the clubs on track is have a minute by minute or an agenda so that you know that you've got enough time for the speaker or enough time to cover certain things. Yeah. So good thing, a good idea to have a minute by minute.
yep. Yep, and a lot of clubs do like there's no set requirement to do it a certain way, but be cognizant of the time, right? Board board meetings are really a necessity. I'd recommend your board meet every month. Some meet less than that, but schedule regular meetings. It's required by the bylaws. It should state in your bylaws how many times the board's going to meet. Set meeting reminders to ensure that you're going to have a quorum. Um, send out an agenda prior to the meeting so people know what the meeting is about. Follow the agenda to make sure you cover all the important items, and then take minutes and make them available to members within 60 days of the meeting, uh, probably earlier than that. And then the ground rules are you're going to start and end on time, be brief to allow others to participate, and avoid hogging the meeting. We have people that want to do that, and avoid distractions to the topic, and use Robert's Rules of Order, which makes it easy to conduct the meeting if you understand Robert's Rules of Order. Okay, so board meeting agendas, you want to make sure you have everybody is clear on the same date and time of the meeting. You call the meeting to order. You do a roll call. Secretary does that. Take attendance. Chair announces that you have a quorum. So if your board is 9 people and you got 6 people there, you got a quorum. So now you can go forward and enact some business. Know the requirement for a quorum. And then the secretary presents minutes for approval. The president or the chair reports. You typically have a treasurer's report, committee reports, old business, new business, any action items that were put on the agenda. I want to talk about comments, announcements, and other business. And then typically there's adjournment and the closing of a meeting and notes and times. And typically you'll set when the next meeting is going to be. But really important to have these board meetings and the agenda for it.
So it's really important too that it's scheduled ahead of time so people know when it is, and to make sure that you're going to have a quorum if there's going to be a vote taken. So we want to be respectful of people's time, and they don't, the people show up and there's no quorum, then you can't make a decision. So we want to make sure that you're going to have a quorum there.
So district governor visits, and this is kind of changing now a little bit, but typically, your district has some traditions around higher district governor basically visits your club, and the district governor is the program when they come, so you don't have to schedule any other speakers. And Rotary does have introduction protocols. You introduce the district governor and their spouse, if their spouse is there. Then the past district governors in order of seniority. Then the district governor elect, district governor nominee, district governor designate, uh, district officers, and then club presidents in that order. Okay. And then protocols to follow. All rise when the DG comes up to speak, and on completion of the speech. And not sure if everybody actually does that, but that's kind of the protocol. And ask the DG aid for the DG visit requirements. So if the DG needs a projector, needs a screen, needs a microphone, it will be great to have all that information before the DG gets there. And then is the club going to present the DG with a gift of some kind after their visit is over? Donation to the district event, foundation donation. So when in doubt, ask, because maybe some protocol has already been set about how all this happens. Okay.
Okay, so if anybody needs to see that list of protocols, Rotary International does have it on their website, because if you've got a lot of Rotary International people, there is a certain order that they get introduced. So, understanding financial statements and budgeting. So, the importance of the financial management in clubs is because you want to make sure that you're going to cover the expenses for the clubs. And so the people who donate to the club and for your members, you show that the funds are being managed correctly, it's being spent responsibly, and there's transparency on how that money is used. Then for boards, you help make informed decisions about the budgeting and planning. So you want to make sure that you understand what the budgeting is, how the finances have been going. You get financial reports regularly, and you do the budget before the year starts. So you make sure that you've got a good treasurer that knows what the legal and regulatory requirements are, such as filing a federal tax return or filing. Sometimes you don't need to do a full tax return. But when people talk about financial statements, it's a balance sheet and an income statement. So those are the two things that consists of a financial statement. Sometimes there's a third thing called a cash flow statement. But a balance sheet is what you own, what you owe, and then the worth of the entity. So sometimes they call it a statement of financial position. The income statement, which is also called a P&L or profit and loss statement or statement of activities in QuickBooks, is what you took in that time period. So it's the time period. Balance sheet is one point in time. Income statement is a period of time. So for Rotary clubs, it's July 1st to June 30. How much did you take in and how much did you pay out during that time? So the balance sheet, the key sections are your assets, what you own, and then your liabilities, and you're not, and then you have the net assets or net worth. So here's an example. You have the assets, 200, cash 20,000, equipment's 5,000, so total assets 25,000. Then you have liabilities, maybe unpaid bills 3,000. So total liabilities is 3,000. So 25,000 minus 3,000 is 22,000, which is your net assets. It should be the amount that um, is well, that's the worth of your club. Income statement tracks how much money comes in, revenues, and how it's being spent. So income like dues, $300, you have expenses of $200, your net profit or excess is $100. That should be going to your assets, your bank account. So income is derived from membership dues, donations, fundraising, happy dollars, grants. So that's all of the money coming in. Expenses would be your Rotary International dues, district dues, program expenses, speaker meals. These are just samples of some expenses that you may have. RILA, pets, um, assemblies, operations like websites, social media, office supplies. So what you might want to do is take your actual P&Ls and put them side by side for maybe 5 years. Then you can see what the expenses have been over the years so that when you do your budget, you can account for all of the categories. So governance from your constitution. So the Rotary's recommended constitution, section 2 says you have an annual meeting. Annual meeting is to elect officers and present a mid-year report from your treasurer. So that report is your current year income and expenses together with the financial report on the previous year. And this is always held before December 31st as provided in your bylaws. And this is where you're going to elect your officers. You're going to hear about finances, and you're going to approve certain things from your treasurer, and you're going to approve your election. Okay, so if you haven't had that already, well, you would plan this in December. So if you're talking about election, you have a nominating committee usually in October, a call for nominations in November, and then you put out the slate in December, and then you hold your elections by December. Okay, so the treasurer's duties, they manage the funds, they collect the dues, they keep the board informed. The president should know how the money is going in and out. So having reports maybe monthly from the treasurer would be a good thing. Another thing on financial controls is to make sure you're looking at the bank statements before the treasurer gets it, so you can see how if the money is going to that account, and if it's going out, it's for expenses that you authorized. So the treasurer is going to maintain those accounts, make sure they're reporting that. They're going to do their taxes, and they're keeping the board informed of all of the finances. So the financial controls make sure that you have more than one signature on checks. Okay, and it was approved according to the budget. Review the bank statements before you give it to the treasurer. Reconcile the bank statements monthly, because sometimes you got stuff in your account that's charged to your account that maybe you didn't authorize. Update your signature cards at the bank for new officers. So you want to do this at the end of June at the latest, so that July 1st, the new officers are signing those checks and everything is turned over in July. Okay. Reconcile your accounting records in a timely fashion and submit your tax forms. So your tax forms, let me get to tax forms after this. Common mistakes would be the failure to track restricted and unrestricted funds. So say someone gave you money for RILA, then it's restricted to only RILA. Okay. Um, so a mistake is to ignore cash flow issues. So if you're short of cash and you don't have enough to pay for pets and your president PE cannot go to pets, that's a cash flow issue. So you need to address these ahead of time. Underestimating what your expenses are. So say you have a fundraiser and you spent more than you took in, then you lost money on the fundraiser, and not reviewing the statements regularly. So the annual requirement is for IRS by November 15th. This is mandatory. The clubs need to file some kind of tax filing. If your income is less than 50,000, you're going to file, hopefully, a Form 990N. It's a postcard, and it's just saying, IRS, our gross receipts were under 50,000, and then you don't have to fill out a big form. And this is a postcard and email to IRS. So if you're in that situation, do not lose that designation because it's so easy to do that filing. If you have gross receipts 200,000, okay, and your total assets 500,000, you do a 990 EZ, and if it's more than that, a full 990. Okay, and then if your state requires filing, then you're going to do that too. So penalties, $20 a day, mm, not to exceed $10,000 or 5,000 of gross. You never want to get to that situation, and you never want to not file for 3 years, because once you do that, you're going to lose that exemption that we have under Rotary, and you're not going to be able to get under Rotary's 501c4 umbrella. Okay, so here's a budget template if you need one. And so it's just showing you what categories you have on a spreadsheet. Rotary International dues is counted for your members as of July 1st and January 1st. And those numbers cannot be adjusted. So it's really important to have your correct roster before those dates. So it would be good to send out an invoice before then so you know who's going to pay or who's not paying. So the Rotary International invoices are emailed to the club president, secretary, and treasurers. So that's why it's important to update the websites with those names. Okay. So Rotary dues, where do they go? So Rotary dues 78.50, and it goes for audits and HR and finance and all of their overhead. There's also included on the July invoice $1 per member for council on legislation, $1.24 per member for DNO, directors and officers insurance, $4.27 per member annually for general liability insurance, and then $18 annually for the Rotarian magazine. That magazine fee is charged semi-annually. So $9 in July, $9 in January. So when you look at the bills from Rotary International, the July one is going to be bigger than the January bill. Okay. So you got to pay it on time. So a message from Rotary International Data Services, make sure you update your membership and officer information by July 1st or January. Okay. And then they generate the invoice. Rotary cannot change the invoice once it's generated. So you got to make sure that the numbers are correct. Okay. And if you want to change anything to this subscription, so say you have a husband and wife getting the subscription of the magazine and you only want one, you can send a request to data at Rotary to just send you one. Okay. So more information on that, you go to Rotary Resources, Club Resources. If you have questions, you go to data at rotary.org. Okay. So Rotary's insurance, the insurance companies need to be changed, well, not changed, updated every year. So right now it's this Highland Group, and the way that you get your insurance certificates for your events for whatever Rotary covers, you're going to go to their website, use that username, password, okay, and then you'll be able to print out your own insurance. So every year they send the Rotary will send this information about who the agent is to the presidents of the clubs for their information, and keep that email because that's where you find the username and password. Okay, so be aware of copyright images and even sounds, so music too. You know, we had a video, we recorded a Zoom, and someone had a presentation with a video, and YouTube blocked our YouTube because we had a music, a sound bite from some place that was copyrighted. So just be careful that you have some stuff that's not copyrighted. Youth protection, if you got images of minors in your whatever you're putting out publicly, that you have parental approvals, you know, like Facebook pictures and stuff. So let's move on to communication, Benson. What do you think?
I think I should unmute. Okay. Well, communication is really important. Obviously, it's one of the key things in purposeful communication to ensure that all communication, whether it's, email, meetings, announcements, that there's a clear goal. And then whether it's to inform, coordinate, motivate, or to recognize members, right? So action oriented, where it's applicable, you want to include actionable steps like, we're going to meet here. The deadline is January 15th. And your expectations and your communications keep everyone aligned and accountable. So, you know, be really clear, be really specific about, times you're going to meet, where you're going to meet, what you're going to do, what the goal is. If somebody's going to be the driver of something, you got that name down. So, clarity simply just empowers everybody. So be action oriented, be clear. Okay, so multiple channels because not everybody communicates the same way. So email, I mean, almost everybody has email, and I know because in our clubs there's some people who don't have email. So, but use regular updates for formal communications such as, events, meeting agendas, updates. I know our club puts out a regular email that comes out every Monday morning, so everybody knows it's coming, and it tells you what the schedule is for the week, what the highlights are, what the events are going to be. Anybody needs to be acknowledged. So regular email is really great. Okay, social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. They're great for community engagement, event promotion, and showcasing club activities. If a club has its own social media accounts, make sure that what you're putting out there is consistent with what other people are saying out there. Newsletters are really great. Since we have people who don't have email, we actually print some of our newsletters and mail it to them or hand it to them. Most newsletters are done online now, whether it's monthly, quarterly. It can keep members up to speed and informed about club projects, events, member achievements. Once again, another way to do it. Or you can use WhatsApp or any messaging apps, so you can put a group of people together, and these are really, really effective because you can get your group together and send out stuff in real time, such as reminders and quick updates. Okay, regular updates. And like I said, you got to be consistent on your regular updates. Got to have meeting agendas, distribute agendas before meetings, allow members to prepare, and you can ensure you're going to have, productive discussions, post-meeting summaries or minutes, send these minutes out on a timely basis. It has to be concise and has to be a good summary of the key points and actions that took place at the meeting, and it keeps everybody in the loop. And calendar, that's really, really an important thing to maintain updated club calendar because it's the calendar that really drives activities for the club. And you can set your calendar way in advance and add or change things as they're coming up, but calendar is super important. Okay, and engagement and feedback, encourage participation, foster that two-way communication, ask for input. You can have feedback groups, discussion groups, suggestions from members. Members like to feel that they have a chance to provide some feedback, and then also that their opinions and their input is being taken seriously by the leadership. Okay, you can do surveys, and um, Rotary has a bunch of really great surveys that you can do within your club that can help you to gauge, how satisfied the members are, help you to gather some new ideas and to really improve club activities, and then really highlight member achievements. Recognize contributions in communications to maintain morale and encourage active involvement. People just love to be acknowledged, even though they say, no, 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 no. They really want to be acknowledged. And how frequent? I mean, it could be weekly. I mean, I think daily is, kind of overdose, but it should be weekly, and the frequency needs to be regularly scheduled so people can depend on it. Like I was saying, our club Monday morning, every Monday morning, everybody looks forward to that email because it tells them what's going on, and it helps to keep members informed without really overwhelming them. They know what's coming. um, use a positive, respectful, and professional tone all the time. Some people they send emails out and they want to make a joke by calling everybody like a derogatory name, like hey slackers. But we don't want to go down that route. We want to send stuff out that really reflects Rotary values. And then branding, and really adhere to the branding guidelines. They're really laid out clear in Rotary Club Central guidelines, and maintain consistent professional appearance across all of the communication channels. And then, let's see, what's next?
So, Benson, I wanted to say that sometimes there's a science
Okay.
on when to send things out and how
Uh,
frequently. Yeah, because sometimes you don't want to send things out on Friday because maybe they won't read it to Monday.
yep.
But when we have Zooms and it's really important, sometimes it's good to remind them the day before that there's a Zoom. Here's the Zoom link because sometimes they can't find it. So I think they need to people need to see how the club members respond to that communication and how they want that communication to come to them. Yeah.
Yep. So consistency is really key. Like I said, our club Monday morning, they're ready for it. Visuals, photos and videos are always great. Picture tells 1,000 words. Obviously, use them whenever you can. Use them to chronicle events, service projects, member highlights, communications. It makes communications even really more engaging. And then infographics, which are graphics that give information. It helps to summarize complex information, and such as, project updates, financial reports, infographics are really pretty easy to comprehend. And then, website, most people, when they visit your club, they've already really gone to your website already. And so it's really important, it's like your website is kind of the front door of your business. So it's really got to be updated. If the last entry on your website is a picture from 2021, it's probably not going to be real effective, and people aren't going to be really impressed about what your club is doing or what your club was doing 4 years ago. Okay, use digital platforms. There's club runners out there. That's basically Rotary's communication platform. There's Google Drive, Dropbox is a store, documents, minutes, reports, presentations, and it just makes it easier for members to access information, especially in the future. Okay, And then financial operation transparency, regularly update the club members on the club's financial status, project outcomes, other key decisions to help promote trust and accountability. And then always, of course, have that open dialogue that ensures open lines of communication between club officers, board members, and general members. And then these are just some of the resources. As you can see, there's a whole slug of them. Most of them you can get them on rotary.org, and it'll help you to give you backup information on a lot of the stuff that we discussed tonight. And with that, we give you the big mahalo, and that graphic just kind of tells it all. So why don't you wind it up for us, Naomi, and we'll call it a day.
Okay. So there's a lot of things that need to go on to manage the club, and you can't do it by yourself, and you shouldn't do it by yourself. You've got to assemble a team of good people to help you with that. That is where your board comes into play. The board, according to the documents, is usually your governing body of the club. So have the board members do their part, and so everyone has their paddle in the canoe, and the canoe can move because if everybody is paddling at the same time, it does move. So
Mm.
build up that team to help your club take care of operations. Okay, so
Okay.
that wraps it up, Benson.
Yeah. With that, we appreciate you guys joining us today, and good luck in Rotary.